Oh, and welcome back to episode 5 of the Kilted Kickoff podcast. Well, no more clubs are now, straight into the international scene. Autumn Nation Series is back this weekend, and we can all rejoice because it's the best time of the year. Forget your pumpkin spice lattes, forget the leaves falling off the trees. The Autumn Nation Series is where it's at. Joining me yet again, my lovely co-host, Dan. How you getting on, bud?
Great. I'm feeling a wee bit hoarse after yesterday. The voice is gone. I collected some of those cups after the game. I think I sent you a picture. I got a stack of about 35 of them. And
Nice.
you know when you've had one too many drinks and you feel like you can walk home? I was going up and down the stadium stairs collecting these cups, and I mean I can't feel my legs today. Honestly, I'm walking down the stairs, I'm screaming. "Ah!" It's,
Oh my god.
I, I was like, I can't be out of that out of shape, can I? And I was like, I realised I could because I wasn't even using the stairs. I was sort of like sidestepping it, hopping over the seats, going all the way up. Because each row, I was like, oh, there's 8 cups here. That's £8. And before you know it, that's all your drinks for the night paid for. And
Fair, fair.
but don't tell the worst bit is, you get down to the bar to hand in your cups, they
Mhm.
won't pay for you for any more than 6 cups.
Yeah, it's pointless.
So
That's why I just.
yeah, I used to keep them, but well, I've got so many sat at home
Mhm.
that when I went to go and collect them, I was like, okay, I've got not far off 40 cups here. That's most of my drink for the day paid for. Let's go down there, hand them back, and they was like, yeah, we'll give you £6 back. And I was like, one of the guys was like, if I just rejoin the back of the queue, can I do it again? And he was just like, yeah, I didn't see you. So I ended up doing it twice. And then the person that got the cups the second time was like, look, I saw you in queue. Um, I'm sorry to tell you, your efforts are worthless. I was like, I'll just give them to kids then. It's like, if they're under the age of 18, we don't give them the money for the cups either. It's like, so you charge us an extra £1 for the cups, saying that you'll give the money back if we return the cups,
We
but
won't.
you won't. Exactly. Um,
All
so
right.
that was, yeah.
There you go. There you go. Cup collecting is pointless.
Yeah, so yeah, that was disappointing, and my legs are sore today for it. But how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Had a bit more of a different day to you. I was doing dad work, so I was at a birthday party today, which is fun. But we got fed, so it's all good. Free food, happy days. That's all I care for. Yeah. But the rugby, we were there very early. We got there for the gates opening, pretty much.
Mhm.
And we're there for the All Blacks England game, obviously on the big screen, which is just a nice touch. I love it when teams do this. Just like, oh yeah, come down early, have a few beers, games on the big screen for you. I enjoyed it. It was a great game. It was a proper
Yeah.
nail biter to proper get the Autumn Nation series going. And yeah, that's all I'm really going to say. It's great as a Scotsman to
Oh.
let England get beat.
Yeah, well, look, I've got one or two things to say. Look, I know that this is a Scottish rugby podcast, so I'll keep my review to this fairly short before we'll dive into the Scotland game in a minute. But I want to ask you, do you think that England have a mentality problem that they can't see at tight games? Because that's now 3 tight games they've lost against the All Blacks. They lost that semi-final against South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been one of the 2 games. See, they did it against, was it France in the Six Nations? If it comes to a really tight game, England always seem to fall on the wrong side of it. I think it's come in handy to our favour a couple of times as well in Calcutta Cup games, which I won't know about. But I think
Um, yeah, I've never really thought about it like that, but you might be onto something. Be worth looking into, especially going for the remainder of the autumn. But yeah,
yeah, and look, I've seen a lot of people giving them stick in that, but first of all, going into the game, I don't know what gave England fans the impression that they should have beaten the All Blacks. This is one thing that's annoyed me over the weekend. Um, Going in saying, look, they can't beat us at the moment. We're not going to beat the All Blacks. So let's start it there. And I said it
Ooh.
with the players that they've picked, right? Marcus Smith,
Mm.
phenomenal player. Like, before I go on, great player, great international player, but he's not the Messiah. I was like, England have got better players than him. He doesn't control the game well. Yeah, look, he's a flashy player. Like, he made the intercept, he got his kicks, he missed a couple of drop goals. But I think more experienced players than Marcus Smith control the game better. I know George Ford had a horrible last 10 minutes against the All Blacks, but over the course of his career, he's a much more formidable player than what Marcus Smith is. Like, if we play England in the Six Nations, if I see Marcus Smith's name on the team sheet, I feel slightly relieved. If I see George Ford's name on the team sheet, I'm like, oh no, right, we're in trouble here.
And that's the difference between me and you. I ain't bothered who their 10 is because we'll beat them regardless.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot. I've got a lot of stick on social media the last couple of days.
There you go.
For saying that, I mean, people on the internet, pointy sticks, who would have thought it? And a lot of people say, oh yeah, Marcus Smith is the clear choice to be the Lions starting 10. I'm like, hold on. A wee minute. I was like, he's not even the best, fly half in England, let alone being the best fly half for the Lions. It's like, get a grip at yourself. Look, again, for the people that are hard of hearing, I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's not. He's a great international level player, but he's not the best in England. If he was Scottish, if he's Marcus Smith, he wouldn't start for Scotland. I'm not even sure he'd get second or third for Scotland. He wouldn't start for Ireland. He wouldn't start over Crowley for Ireland. So look, let's be fair. It's a joke if you think he's going to be the starting fly half for the Lions. An absolute joke. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. It's a Scottish Rugby podcast after all. Let's we'll move on to the Scotland game.
Holy shit! He came in just and woke up and chose violence today. Oh my god. Yes. So the reason we were at Scottish Gasmoney Field, the opening event, Scotland versus Fiji, and yes, Fiji didn't get to go full whack. Neither did we, and I think people forget that. We were not allowed to go full whack either, and yet we absolutely smashed them. 57-17, our biggest win over Fiji ever, and the Prince of Hawick is really chasing down the crown. Darcy Graham returned to international rugby with over a year out in the Scotland jersey, and he gets 4 tries, just casually, as you do.
In his first game back, he put one hand on the crown, and then Duhan came across and slapped it back off.
I was going to ask you this. How annoyed would you be if you were Darcy? You came back in, you got 4 tries, you're now level on the all-time top try scorers list, and your best bud across the opposite wing goes, it's still mine, don't worry.
I think if Darcy Graham can keep himself fit, I think he'll take it.
I think they're going to just keep chopping and changing until one of them retires or falls out of favour in the squad. I think.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say I can see like Darcy taking the lead. I could see Duhan getting the lead back. I could see them being level at one game, and it's just going to keep constantly chopping and changing.
I'd like to see that, but look, he's overtaken the old top try scorer, he who shall not be named. Yeah, so he's overtaken him and pushed him down to the third. But I read a stat today saying that Darcy Graham has scored 9 tries for Scotland in his last 4 games, which is insane. I've not double checked that.
I know the one you're on about. I think it was 8 in his last 3, but even still, that's
8 in his last 3. I could have easily got that wrong.
Still not.
While we're on the Prince of Hawick, just because a lot of our listeners might not know this yet, just came out today that the Prince of Hawick has failed his HIA. So at the moment, he is a doubt for South Africa. He does have one more bite of the cherry, so he can't train with Scotland at the moment, as far as I'm aware. But he now has to go for a second HIA. Now, if he passes HIA 2, he has to wait 3 days for to do a third HIA, and if he passes that one also, he'll get the green light for South Africa. But if he fails HIA 2 or HIA 3, he
He's
can't play.
not.
So
Basically, just best of 3 then, essentially.
yeah, but even if
So,
he does play for South Africa, it does mean that he won't train with Scotland for most of this week.
so I imagine then the first HIA1 would have been done Saturday at the game when he went off.
Yeah, so yeah, that one's failed.
So all the lads had a day off today. We're recording on Sunday, just for people
Mm.
listening. I imagine first thing Monday morning, HIA2 for Darcy. Passes that. The bonus thing is we're not playing till Sunday this week, so it is giving you that extra day. Yeah, so that's not the be all and end all. So hopefully he's back, but and I'm not saying this just to be positive and me being me and counteractive Dan, but it isn't the end of the world if Darcy's out. Yeah, yes, it's huge. Like, we love him. He's fantastic. He's a prolific try scorer. But Kyle Rowe's been doing well, providing he's all right because he did take quite
More than well.
He's been doing really well. Aaron
Mhm.
Reid's been in sensational form down in Sale Sharks. And I kind of said just before we started recording, it might come into our favour because the box would be looking at like, look what Darcy did last week. This is how you counterattack this. You're not even thinking of Aaron Reid. Whereas Aaron Reid could just slip in and be like, no, this is what I do. Keep an eye out.
Mhm.
That
Well,
could come in handy, is
I
how I'm
love your
seeing it.
optimism. Yeah, I love your optimism there.
Thank
But
you.
I mean, talking about baptism of fire, he's untested in the international arena. Really, I mean, I know he played the tour of the Americas, and look, no disrespect to the teams that we played on that tour, but they're tier 2 nations. There's a difference from playing USA and Canada to playing the World Champions. That's a huge,
It's huge.
huge
But
step up.
there is also then, realistically, there's no pressure on him.
I can't. He might make the bench. I mean, if Darcy Graham doesn't
Okay.
make it, you'd assume it'd be Kinghorn, Dewey, and Rowe.
Yeah, which is, by the way, we're not complaining about. That is a fantastic back three.
No, I do. I'll get onto Kyle Rowe in a little bit, but I think Rowe's probably, for maybe someone that only watches rugby during the Six Nations, or for the autumn, or maybe those that just watch the rugby now and again, he is such an underrated player. I don't think he gets half the credit that he deserves. He is so good. But look, we'll get onto him a little bit later on.
The game itself was just a lot of fun. Like we did, there was a little like shaky bit in the game, but it's going to happen. But for the most part, we kept our heads down, controlled our tempo very nicely. Graham getting 4 that we've mentioned, Duhan and stealing the record back from Darcy, Hugh Jones, Shuggy, 2 tries for him, should have been 3.
Yeah, no, he's one guy that impressed me. Like I've always thought he was a normal player, but I've spoken him down a little bit, saying, well, not spoken him down. I've sort of hinted maybe that his time.
No, you have. Don't lie.
That his time might have been coming to an end in a Scotland jersey, not from lack of skill, but just losing half a step in your speed. Players coming up behind him, the strength and depth we had in the area. And look, when I say these things, I really love to be proven wrong. And yeah, boy, I was proven wrong about a couple of things. Not everything. There's a couple of things that I feel like I was dead right on, but there's also a couple of things I got proven wrong with. I'm happy to. So Shuggy had an amazing game.
He did, absolutely, and you could see the interception try. You could see Sione, Captain Sione, as a supporter. He's not even shouting for the ball. He's just telling, finish it. You could see it, just like, you finish that, Shuggy. You've got that, which we loved. Tom Jordan made his long-awaited Scotland debut and was fantastic. And you know what? And I don't know if this is just because of how free-flowing the game was, or the system that they already had in place for when Tom came on. I couldn't tell where he was playing. And I mean that in the nicest way. Because when Tom Jordan came on, the sub was for Kyle Rowe. And I was like, okay. And the people, so I was speaking to my dad, the people behind me who were like passionate Glasgow fans even like, agreed with what I said. I was like, okay, Adam Hastings is going to drop to fullback and Tom Jordan's going to be 10 because you've still got Sione and Hugh in the centres.
Yeah,
but then that's how I've seen it, yeah. And then
same way. I thought the exact same thing. I didn't even know Tom Jordan had that in his locker.
But then some of the plays, like Adam Hastings was still like first receiver. I'm like, okay, maybe they've just switched up a little bit. And it wasn't until where Fiji looked like they were about to score straight from the kickoff after we scored. And Tom Jordan was like really far back and got that try saving tackle. I'm like, are you fullback? And that's why I was like, because obviously, like, if you're 10, you're kind of more centralized for the restart.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really dropped all the way back. Where Tom Jordan was like pretty much touching the goalpost when that ball left.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is Tom at fullback? And then one of my mates, we were talking about this earlier, that the way Hugh Jones played at the end, especially that crossfield kick, it almost looked like Hugh Jones was at fullback and Tom was in the centre. I'm like,
Well, they like to do that. We usually with Huey Pilotu, one of the things, other than they're both so skillful and both powerful runners, that they like to do is because they can both play 12 and both play 13, they swap and change all the time. So the opposition never knows, which one of them's playing which position, which makes it really hard to judge. And if you throw Tom Jordan in there and Adam Hastings in there, because remember, Hastings can play 12 and he can play fullback as well. If you've got four players playing musical chairs for their positions about who's playing where, that's really hard to try structure a defense about.
That's what I was thinking, because almost like every play, nobody was in like the same position, and I'm just like, and it just constantly made me think, and it's not a bad thing. I'm loving it. You have to keep the opposition guessing, but then I was like, Adam at 10, is Sione at 13, is Tom at 12, is Hugh, and I was just constantly moving. The only ones that weren't in doubt were like, oh yeah, Darcy's on the wing and Duhan's on the opposite wing. That didn't need explained. That was fine. We all knew that. But yeah, it was good. It was just a really fun game. You and Ashman, I felt was hard done by not getting the try because Shuey apparently blocked. I think that might have been a bit harsh. Because if you go over to the highlights and watch it on TNT Sports highlights, the first try, according to them, was the Ashman try. They don't even show you the Kyle Rowe try.
Yeah, do you know, when I got home from there, the first thing I did is I watched the whole game back.
Yeah.
And I've written down a couple of notes. I picked a full. No, I did what you did. I turned on the game on the Discovery Plus app on Sky.
Yeah.
And I saw the highlights, and then I just got me in the mood. I went back to the very beginning, pressed play. I'd ordered a pizza to try sober me up when I got home,
Nice.
and I went and watched the whole thing back. And there's a couple of things that I've written down. I've got mostly positives, but shocker. I've got a few negatives in here.
Oh,
And now
did.
that we're speaking about you and Ashman, he's one of the people I've got on my list.
Go on then. What's your problem with Ashley?
I think well, that's not my problem, actually. One, he was lucky not to get a red card. Like his discipline
that's
was
fair.
awful.
Yeah.
I am fully expecting him to be cited in Miss South Africa. Some of the commentators were saying it after the game. I think it was Barkley that was saying it after the game. He thinks the same, that Ewan's probably going to get cited and probably miss South Africa. Look, I hope it doesn't. I love Ashman. He's still a young number two. Mm-hmm. So he's got a bit to go. I think he made some errors in the game. But then by contrast, I thought the Richardson was astonishing when he came on. Like, he was so powerful. He made a couple of line breaks. Every single one of his arrows were straight. If I'm looking at it, if the battle was between Ashman and Richardson, I'd give it to Richardson. Like, he just looks all-round solid player. And seeing the admiration online that the Sharks fans in South Africa give him, like, they really rate him down there as well. Yeah, so
that, and I know it's not a big thing. That would also come in very helpful because he knows what that front row.
Like, he knows the box. Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll just be looking like, I know what we're doing. I know what they're doing.
South Africa, one of their game plans is they love to disrupt the lineouts. Now, what a better person to have operating your lineouts than Dylan Richardson? And look, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. That game, going back to your number 2, was crying out for Johnny Matthews.
Oh, shut up.
With the amount of driving moles that got done, there's a couple of us where I was like, oh no, only if there was some player that has a proven track record at a high level winning championships and scoring driving moles.
Thing is, right? And I know, because obviously last week the squad was just announced because this is the first game. And we kind of we did have a good debate back and forth about Johnny Matthews. See, now that the games have started, I'm not phased. And you know how I was really unhappy that Johnny Gray wasn't in the squad last week.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm unfazed. Okay, this is our team.
Yeah,
I move on from stuff like that. I move on from stuff like that really quickly.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. If there's a squad update and they go, oh, by the way, Johnny Gray's now in the team, or Johnny Matthews is with us, or whoever, I'll be like, oh, nice, happy days, welcome to one of them ones. But for now, I'm like, I'm not phased. I'm not upset.
Let me ask you something then. So if
Go
it
on.
turns out that Ewan Ashman does get cited,
Hmm.
who are you calling up?
Dave Cherry? No. I'm
No way.
no. No, if it was me, I would call it Johnny Matthews, but
would he have been in your initial squad?
he was in my initial squad.
Yeah.
The one that didn't
did
make it. The one that didn't make the cut was Paddy Harrison, because I was like, I like Paddy, but if you're making me, but I was like, if you're making me choose, I only picked 3 though. I didn't pick 4.
So did I? I had Richardson, Harrison, and Matthews were my 3.
She dropped Ashman.
I dropped Ashman.
There you go.
It wasn't. I think he will be, give it another 2 or 3 years. I think he could potentially be going into the next World Cup. He will be right in contention with the best number 2 for Scotland, right? I just don't think he's there at this moment in time. And if you look at some of the Edinburgh boys, there's weaknesses to his game. He wasn't on form at the moment, and so it was nothing to do with potential or anything like that. It was mainly down to form and how other people are playing. Like Johnny Matthews is the starting number 2.
You know what surprised me? You know what surprised me just in that game, just before we move on, because there's only really the one game to talk about. We don't need to do a fucking. Sorry, I did swear there. I apologise, but there's no need to do like a play-by-play thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what really impressed me, considering who we have next week, and it is a big squad. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that Grant Gilchrist and Matt Fagerson did the full 80. They put in some shift, and like yes, Fiji weren't going as full whack because they weren't allowed. Like 22 of the 23 man squad was Fiji and Drua, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, which was why they had such good cohesion. One of the unnecessary risks for me was Xander Fagerson. Like, I get why you'd start everyone else, because look, we've got good players, but if Matt Fagerson went down, we have good depth to come in at the back of him.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Darcy Ray at all when I say this, but if Xander Fagerson goes down, the drop off in quality that we have to come on to replace him is huge. And then if that happens, who comes in at the back of Darcy Ray?
No. Mills now.
No, but if it was outside the international window, I'm talking about. So it's one of these things where that was an unnecessary risk. Like, you could see that Townsend was a bit. He didn't want anyone to get injured. Like the second that Rowe got that crunching tackle, within 5 minutes, Townsend took him off. I expect that Rowe will be in for next week. He was my fantasy captain as well, so I was gutted to see him go off.
I had a really mixed feeling about that hit on Kyle Rowe, because I've seen it, and initially I was like, why is that not getting checked? But the minute I seen another replay of it, Kyle's foot was on the ground. I was like, that is
just touched the ground. Yeah,
it is a perfect hit.
Mm-hmm.
sadly. And actually, we could praise him now because we were really worried about it last week, saying don't let Adam Hastings near the Fijians because of what happened last week. Adam
Get his
Hastings was great.
on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Oh, he's down on my list of things. And look, people don't give him enough credit, right? First of all, his kicking was incredible. It always is. We praise Finn Russell for being the best fly half in Scotland most of the time. But without a doubt, Hastings is the best player in Scotland off of the tee. For me. If I had to put my life on the line for a player to slot a kick for me, it'd be Adam Hastings. Like his kicking was incredible. And was it Doohan's try when he offloads it to Hugh Jones, that slick behind the back pass? If for those of you who haven't seen it, I missed that at the game live. I even missed it when I watched the highlights. But when when it went off, that behind the back pass was incredible. Finn Russell-esque, really.
It was just naughty. All that try was naughty because Sione did a no-look pass to Adam, and Adam just went, there we go, out the back to Hugh.
Absolutely incredible.
Ironically, it was a very Fijian try.
It was. It really, really was. And look, I've said this to you off air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adam Hastings, Finn Russell's our best fly half, right? Before I say this, but I don't think the gap between Finn Russell and Adam Hastings is as big as some people think it is. And that's not to say that Finn Russell isn't as good as what people think he is. He 100% is. But I think that Adam Hastings is just he's
better
breathing
than
down Finn Russell's throat. Yeah. I've thought for years he's a class operator. And I still do.
Just because you were on about his goal kicking, right? I made this joke with my dad at the game because my dad was present. Adam's kicking. I'm like, oh yeah, look at his surname. He probably learned how to kick before he could run. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. But I mean, there was a lot of players that did well, and we've mentioned a fair few, but it is the big one next week.
Oh yeah,
the world champions are coming to town. Biltong at the ready. Haggis versus Biltong.
Haggis versus Biltong.
It's going to be great, and I am so excited for this. This is where we front up. I do think we're ready for it. Like, it's not like we've had them first up, so everyone's rusty. It's we've had a game. Might have been a bit more free flowing than I think some of the Scotland players would have wanted. They probably would have wanted a bit more of a tighter encounter to be like, okay, we've survived that. Let's. But anyway, it is what it is. The boys did well and deserved that.
Yeah, no, look, definitely.
I do believe we're ready for this. I think if this was any other time in the fixtures, it might be different. Like, South Africa have not played a game yet. They have not played.
True.
They have not played together in 6, 7, maybe even 8 weeks. I can't remember exactly.
They'll still, but they're just off the back of the rugby championship. I don't think that it's not like it's the end of season and they're going to be rusty.
No, they're not going to be that rusty. But again, the club cohesion hasn't really been there for the South African franchises this year, as of consistently. I mean,
well, other than if you look at the Sharks game against Glasgow and Munster, that I think they purposely put all their box out, knowing that the internationals were coming around the corner.
That wouldn't surprise me. But then, after this tour? When's the next time you're going to see Ibn Etzebeth in a Sharks jersey?
Champions Cup, probably. I'd say that he hardly get used until the Champions Cup.
But so exactly, that's still about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks after the. Something like that. But still, you get what I'm saying. That they've not. Like, yes, it is a massive threat. I'm not saying it's not. It's the world champions, for crying out loud. I'm not that naive. I'm just saying, and I probably will say it on TikTok during the week, so brace yourself. I'm not scared of the Springboks. I
I'm convinced
100% know. I 100% know what they can do, what they're capable of. The players they have are world class. The depth they have is second to none. But
Mhm.
every team is beatable.
No, nobody's invincible. In Argentina, done it during the Rugby Championship. There is no team out there that isn't beatable. But I will say there's a couple of things that I took down in my notes that we have to improve on, or we just won't beat the Springboks. We gave away
But
14 penalties against Fiji.
mm,
Now, a lot of these penalties were no pressure, stupid penalties. If we do that against world champions, they will punish us. You can't give away that many penalties in a game and expect to get away with it. I think Richardson has to start. For me, I would call up Matthews because I think at the scrum and at the line out, we need to be on form because that's where they're going to target us. Scotland's
mm,
defence is good because the Glasgow defence is good. They know Glasgow's attacks drive and maul. They're going to work on that. They're going to do their best to cut off our back three. Probably going to be Darcy Graham, Duan Van der Merwe, and Blair Kinghorn, if you were to guess. So that's how they're going to target us. So our set pieces and our penalty count going into this is going to be crucial, and we're going to have to learn to soak up a lot of pressure without conceding silly penalties. And our
easier,
discipline are going to have to be good.
easier said than done, though.
Yeah, easier said than done.
It's,
Especially when that sheer amount of pressure comes down upon you.
but I mean, I'm not saying this is an excuse or anything like that. I know if we get the result that we're wanting, that it's going to be excuses because there's no Franz Malherbe because he's hurt. Cameron Hanna comes untested, and they've done a lot of chopping and changing with that. I'm like, shut up! You play with what's in front of you.
Yeah, look, you have to pay to play with what's in front of you.
And
That's all you
really,
can do.
it doesn't really affect. Like I've seen, like South African fans, like, oh my god, like, that's a lot of injuries. I'm like, not really. It doesn't affect your first team like at all. Franz Malherbe, okay, but you would start Vincent Koch, who isn't like any slouch at all.
Yeah.
Jordan Hendricks is probably not going to start. If he's going to start a game, it's probably going to be Wales. No disrespect to Wales, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're probably going to have Manny Lebok or Andre Pollard against us. Yeah, it's not going to affect the first team,
Mm-hmm.
but that's fine because I'm not. I'm not worried. I can see us beating South Africa. I'd love to be. I'd love to do it. Yeah, I'm just doing predictions now. Sorry, changing up.
Let's hope for some traditional Scottish weather. I know the South
Oh, yeah.
Africans don't always travel the best, but there's not many games that I'd hope for rain. But if there was one game where I wanted a proper Greek Scottish day, yeah, next Sunday.
Let it piss down. Let us win like 9 points to 6 off the kicking tee only. Why not? Yeah, like I'm going to do predictions, but people will be like, "You've not said a score," and it's quite simple. I don't care how much we win by. 1 point with a last minute drop goal or last minute penalty. Cool. Dominate them. Happy days. A win's a win. You beat the Springboks. You beat the world champions. You are putting the world on notice, and that is what we are going to do. I fully believe that.
Do you know what? Yeah, do you know what? I will put a number on it. Scotland by 2.
Scotland by 2.
Scotland by 2.
I'm not putting a number. I don't care. Scotland by 1. Scotland by 3. Scotland by 25. Absolute limbs if that happened. But do you know what I mean?
Oh, don't. Don't. There's dreaming and there's crazy. Look,
No,
by no
no.
means.
A win's a win. It could be the most scrappy game ever. It could be the most unpretty game.
You still
I
cut off, I believe.
You good?
Hold on. I'm just going to pause it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right, okay, so we're back on. Sorry,
Yeah.
we had technical issues there for a minute, so we're just going to pop straight back into it. So you said
Yeah, no,
Scotland by 25, were you?
no, I said I don't know what the score is. Scotland by 1, 3, 5, 25. Yeah, I wasn't, but obviously 25 would be sensational. I don't care if this is going to be the most watchable game ever. This could be an absolute slugfest, and if we get the win, I don't care.
My only concern with it, and I'm sorry to keep harping on about Matthews, right, is to beat the world champions, I think you need to have the best team you can at your disposal. And I look at it, for me, Andy Christie makes our strongest possible 15. He's injured. For me,
Mhm.
Kyle Stain makes our strongest possible 15. He's injured.
Mhm.
For me, Johnny Matthews makes it as well. But now the catch is he's available. So I feel like we're already a couple injuries in. We don't need to shoot ourselves in the foot on top of this. Like even if he's
Thing
not the
is,
15, if you want to start Richardson because of his knowledge of them and his performance, I absolutely get that. But have him in the 23. You have
so
to.
I'm just gonna trick you here. Not a trick. Just ask you a question.
Okay.
Squad update. There's no Johnny Matthews.
Right.
It'll be Richardson and Ashman. Ashman's not been done dirty. He's not in trouble. Okay.
Okay.
Richardson, Ashman in a match of 23, and we
Mm-hmm.
beat South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still need Johnny Matthews after that then?
Oh yeah.
How?
I mean, you
If you
can't.
got,
If you've got a
if
good player, if
you've just said that our strongest team would have Andy Christie and Kyle Stain, both have
yeah,
injured. Johnny Matthews, who isn't
yeah.
injured and just isn't available. But if we go out and beat the world champions without
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Matthews, we don't need him.
Okay, so going by that logic, we also don't need Kyle Stain or Andy Christie.
We might not.
It's we can look. It's I'm not going to say without Johnny Matthews we're going to lose the game. That's not the way I meant it to come off. But I'm just
I know
saying
what you
that
meant. I know what you meant.
you don't forgo. You have to pick if you want to beat the best. You have to give yourself the best possible chance. Give yourself the best possible chance. You have to pick the best possible players. Wow, that was a bit of a tongue twister there,
That
wasn't
was well done you for saying that first time.
it? Yeah. So, look, as much as I love Paddy Harrison, and I think he's really, really on form at the moment, this game's too big to bring him into
I understand that. Yeah.
straight up. And then, yeah, for me, Richardson, beast, he starts, and it has to be him and Matthews. What has happened to my camera?
It's been a little bit blurry, a little bit. You're not too bad now. It was an interesting episode. This. What I was going to say was just because we're just about to sign off and do our squads because we've already done predictions. It kind of switched about it. But South Africa, do you go 5-3 split? Do you go 6-2 split? And how strong do you go? Because I'm thinking, and this is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Again, it's a risk because it is South Africa, but physicality and size wise, do you
Mm-hmm.
put Ben Lancaster in that mix?
Oh, so I've not thought about my full 23. This is, I've not sat down and evaluated it since yesterday.
Well,
For me,
I've got my 23 written down, but
Mhm.
obviously I'm not putting anything out until tomorrow's squad update, which they love to do.
So well, by the time this goes out and people listen to it, you'll have your thing out on TikTok. So I'm assuming we're still going to go through our
I'll
player
still do it.
squads now.
No, my squad's not coming out till Tuesday or Wednesday because we don't play till Sunday this week.
Mm-hmm.
So the official squad won't come out till Friday.
All right. Okay. Right.
Right.
Okay. So
So
I'm just going through who I would pick. So let's just start with our front three. Who have you gone for?
Schumann, Richardson, Ferguson.
Right. 100% agreement here.
Cool.
That's who I've gone for as well. Who's going for your locks?
Cummings and Gilchrist.
Ooh, Cummings and Gilchrist.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone Cummings and Brown.
Brown.
Mm-hmm. I think he's in exceptional form at the moment. He's a great lineup operator. He's powerful. And I don't think Gilchrist is the best form, and his disciplinary record scares me.
Fair enough.
Giving away stupid penalties or getting himself sent off for a high tackle that he's done a couple of times, I wouldn't want to risk it in a match of this magnitude for me.
Fair enough. Back row.
Yeah. I wouldn't change a thing from last week.
I was going to say, surely Ferguson, Dodge, and Dempsey. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, if Andy Christie was fit, he's one of the only players I think could muscle his way in there, would be Andy Christie. Yeah. But right now, no, it's those three. Matt Fagerson, I think he's going to be Scotland's Peter O'Mahony. I think he is bloody brilliant. Rory Darge is exceptional, one of the best sevens I've maybe ever seen. And Jack Dempsey, he is so good. So good. So, yeah, I have no complaints there. Our back row is amazing.
Right, so into the backs now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just do it all in one go. I'm just going to rattle off my back line. You do yours and then we'll do the subs.
Benny Reid? No, I'm joking.
I
would go Horn and Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Horn and Russell, what you? Oh, okay. We're doing a whole
back line.
I am going to take back nothing to do with what I said about McDowell, because I said McDowell and Plottu in the centres, but I can't drop Hugh Jones on how good he was against Fiji. So it's Hugh Plottu as your centre pairings. Darcy Graham and Kyle Rowe on the wings. If they're both fit. Yeah. Blair Kinghorn in the look. Darcy Graham, right? He scored 4 tries. He's in sensational form. I thought before he went out injured, I was chatting him up at the time about potentially being the best winger on the planet before he got injured. I seem to have slowly forgotten that because it was quite a new conversation by the time he's going out injured, and now he's back to doing Darcy Graham things. For me, that thought has slipped back into my head again. Blair Kinghorn is sensational. He starts at full back, and then that leaves me the choice: Duhan van der Merwe or Kyle Rowe. Now, on form, if I'm forgetting about the 23 here for a moment, right, and who could come off the bench, and I'm basing it on form alone, I picked Duhan on legacy, but I picked Kyle Rowe on form. Yeah, Kyle Rowe over Duhan.
Okay,
can't believe I've just said that.
So there you go. I've got the one change. I agreed with everything in your backline there. So Russell, Hugh Plottu in the centres, Darcy, Duhan starting for me with Wire at fullback. Nothing against Kyle Rowe. I love Kyle Rowe, but yeah. Bench. This is interesting. I am going 6-2 split. The more I think about it, I am doing a 6-2.
Yeah, I'm doing 6-2 as well.
Well, I'll go Ashman.
Yeah.
With Rory Sutherland, and it'll be Elliot Miller-Mills. I've got Max Williamson. Then I've got this one keeps changing, so I'll say it, and it might not be the same. I'll put it on TikTok, but it'll be close. And I will give an honourable mention to one I don't pick. So it'll be then Jamie Ritchie.
Ooh.
And then I keep flip-flopping between Josh Bayless and Ben Muncaster. Bayless is more versatile, but Muncaster is massive. He's a huge human being, which would come in very handy to take on some shift off the bench. So I'm like, it could even be Bayless Muncaster and drop Jamie Ritchie altogether. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards that myself. I wouldn't start
Right,
with
so
him
I'll just put in
benching two.
brackets, and just to round off, instead of me waffling on, I'll say Jamie Ritchie or Josh Bayliss with Ben Muncaster. Then you've got, again, scrum half's interesting because how versatile do you want for your 6-2? Because
Mm-hmm.
for big names, you have Ben White.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing form and versatility, Jamie Dobie, because Jamie Dobie covers scrum half and wing very comfortably. And then
Mm-hmm.
based on that, you would have Tom Jordan in the 23 jersey because, like what we discussed earlier, where did he even play on his debut? Was he a 10? Was he a centre? Was he fullback? Was he all three? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm
I
thinking. I'll probably have Ben White when I pencil it in. I'll probably have Ben White more than Jamie Dobie, ever so
mm-hmm.
slightly. But again, there's nothing in it.
Uh, right, okay. I'm just thinking, I'm going to have to nail my colours to the mast here. I'm just
Go for it.
having one quick look at the squad to refresh myself to make sure there's no one I've left out here.
Okay. You can pick everyone this week, by the way.
Yeah. Crosby's a name that sticks out to me, but maybe not. Oh, right, okay. Right, I'm ready.
Go on
My
then.
bench.
Who's your bench?
Now, again, I'm not going to pick Matthews because he's doing it. I'm just picking for
No, he's
who's
not. You have to
available.
pick the squad.
Yeah. Suz, Ashman, Miller Mills.
Mm-hmm.
I pick Max Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
I pick Bayliss and Muncaster.
Okay, so yeah, same as mine, pretty much.
And then Dobie and Jordan as my backs.
Okay, so we actually agree on that one then, pretty much.
Now, yeah, you could argue Hastings over Jordan. Jordan's a little bit more
Yeah,
physical, but Jordan he can play centre, he can play
he
10,
can.
he can play fullback,
He might be
and
able to play
Dobie.
fullback. We're unsure on that one.
Oh no, that's all. Like he was great at fullback. Like he made some great defensive tackles. He stopped that Fiji try.
The only
Um,
reason, the only reason I've not put Ben White and Adam Hastings is because, and I know it's a whole different setup. It's not always the same. I don't want us to do the same mistakes England did, doing essentially a half-back pairing at 6-2.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying Adam Hastings isn't versatile because he can. He can play centre and he can play fullback. But Ben White would make more sense because it's a bigger name and he has been first choice for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Okay. Let
that's
me
that's a tricky one.
play devil's advocate here, right? If you were
Hmm.
to go for a 5-3, which forward do you get rid of from your bench, and which back do you add?
It would probably be Richie or Bayliss that I'd get rid of because I want the physicality in Muncaster.
You want the physicality of Muncaster, so you
You
get
need
rid
a
of Bayliss.
you need a big unit coming on, and
Mm-hmm.
Ben Muncaster's a big lad with a hell of an engine as well. So yeah, so then if you were doing it 5-3, it would be Ashman, Sutherland, Miller Mills, Williamson, Muncaster, Ben White, Hastings, and probably like Stafford McDowell or Kyle Rowe.
No, that's what I was going to say. For me, if I was to do a 5-3, I'd go Sutherland, Ashby, Miller, Mills, Williamson. I would drop Muncaster but keep Bayliss.
Okay, that's fine.
And then I would go, because Bayliss is a beast himself, and then I would go Dobie, McDowell, Jordan on the bench.
That works. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty tight. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I've not clamped down if I'm doing 6-2 or 5-3. But anyway, you'll find out during the week if you
But
follow me.
for the options, though, where they could play, there's an argument to be made that you could swap out Jordan with Hastings. Because Hastings is a different type of player. I think Hastings is more creative than Jordan, and he's better off the tee than Jordan is. Although when it comes to field kicking, going for like a 50-2 2 or just possession. I think Jordan's got a longer boot on him. It's less accurate, but it's bigger.
You're just doing pros and cons, but it's always pros for both those players. So you're not helping your case here.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
It's a strength.
It's a Sunday game this week, so I don't know how we're going to film it next week.
We'll do something. We'll have to. Do you know what? Actually, I'm pretty sure I've got Monday booked off work.
Oh, there you go. We could do it on Monday.
So we could do. We might be a day late next week. Do it on Monday.
A day late. It goes out on a Monday. Nobody will ever know.
Well, it goes out late Sunday night half the time. Well, depending on where you're watching it. If you're watching it on YouTube, it goes out Monday. If you're listening to us on Spotify, if you're early on it, you might get it as soon as Sunday night. But I think most people get us when they're going to work in the mornings or stuff like that. But look, wherever you listen to it, we will try to get to Apple Music soon. By the way, we've had a couple of people ask us this. Are we on Apple Music? Apple security is so tight that we're struggling to get on it. I've tried a couple of times. Last time I tried, they locked me out. So then I gave up. So look, right now we are on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Amazon Music, we're on Podcast Addict. We're almost everywhere you can think of that you get your podcast, big or small. I've partnered with Buzzsprout, so they've got a part on there where they send it to everywhere.
Okay. There you go.
But Apple Music is the only one that's been funny with us at the moment. For whatever reason, it doesn't like the way that we download it or upload it. We are working to try and get around it, but hopefully we'll get onto Apple Music soon.
It's because we don't own iPhones. Me or you don't have an iPhone. That's probably what it
is. We're both Google Pixel, aren't we?
Yes. I would get a new phone before the Springboks game, so there you go. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Follow Dan on TikTok. He's at Rugby Realm. You still got the 8, yeah.
Yeah, but if you type in Rugby Realm, I'm the first one to come up.
If you type in Rugby Realm, if you type in me, you'll get Blissful Rugby. So please hit the follow button as well. And if you really, really want to be a big fan, you can go into my new Instagram because that was a hell of a weekend as well.
You got hacked, didn't you?
I got hacked, and because silly me decided to have a joint account, like a paired, so like my Facebook and Instagram were the same person. Because why wouldn't it? It made sense on paper. Yeah, they got in very quickly. And thank you to all the lovely friends and family, including yourself, Dan, that reported the Facebook page. Because don't use a picture of my children. That's really weird.
Yeah. In that scam, to use a picture of your son. That was like, because I text you straight away when I woke up. The first thing that came on, I was like, using a picture of his kid, man, that's low. And then the scam page went and commented on it as well, like the head scam page. I forget the name of it. It was like Victoria something.
Don't worry.
Victoria Traders or something on it.
Don't worry about it. For one, I'm not fussed if you happen to Facebook doesn't mean anything, really.
No.
It was more the fact that they used pictures of both the kids apparently. They used one of the baby as well. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's enough. But hey, enough friends and family reported it. It doesn't exist now. You can't find it.
Right, yeah. Well, look, it's crap that you're going to have to start again and build everything up. It's
do you know the annoying bit about it?
What?
It's not even an actual starting again bit. Have you ever had to make a new account and it's like, oh, what's your interest? See, having to like refollow every account you've ever liked.
Mm-hmm.
It is a pain in the arse. Yeah. Because the pages I was starting to like on Instagram especially wouldn't do like daily updates. My Instagram was instantly like 6 days out of date. Like it just kept showing me the edit from last week. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We'll start fresh. I'm not even putting my handle on it. If you find me, you could find me. I'm not one to put it out. It's too early to say it now.
Yeah. So look, guys, we'll leave it there for today. Look, if you haven't already, it doesn't cost you any money. But if you could leave a comment with a bit of feedback, we'll try to include anything that you recommend. And look, if you give us a rating, a 5-star rating on Spotify or on YouTube, it really helps us out in the algorithm. It gets us spotted by more rugby fans. And look, this is why we do it at the end of the day. We want to build a bit of a rugby community here. for people who love all things rugby. There's 101 pages out there for every single football team, but there's almost nothing out there for rugby. So we'd like to be one of the voices out there for Scottish rugby. And if you like what we do, it'll take you 2 seconds to click that little bell button or click the 5-star rate and the thumbs up, whatever it is on whatever platform you listen to. It helps us out big time.
Absolutely. And just if you're going to like ride the wave with us, just wait till like February, March time when you've got the men's Six Nations, the women's Six Nations, the under 26 Nations, the URC still on, the Prem still on. This is going to be
Cup, Challenge Cup.
There you go. See.
Transfer. We are not done. We have one last bit of news that I almost forgotten about. A transfer rumor that I text you just before I drove home. So for you guys listening, it's starting to leak out online that Mr. Duhan van der Merwe is off to the Premiership. Now, we were hearing it about La Rochelle, but apparently Bath have inquired on the availability of Duhan van der Merwe to take him down to the Premiership for next season.
You know what? I like that. You're going to have Finn telling Duhan, stick to my inside all year. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. And if you've not got an English team and you want one and you're like, well, I support Scotland, support Bath. Josh Bayliss, Ben Russell, Cam Redpath, Duhan van der Merwe. Go down to Bath, support them at the Rec. Nice little Scottish.
Have you ever been to Bath before?
Not yet. It's on the bucket list. I'll get there eventually. Yeah.
The city itself, it looks like Edinburgh. Genuinely, the architecture and that. It looks like a smaller version of Edinburgh if you've ever been to Bath. It's a beautiful city. But yeah, he could be down there. Look, there's a lot of ways. Bath are going to have to release some players just so they don't breach the salary cap to bring Duhan van der Merwe in. There's a couple of ones that are getting batted about. There's lots of rumours really like Jamie Ritchie being off. Maybe Hamish Watson might leave Edinburgh at the end of the season. So one of the theories going around that Bayliss could be making his way north of the border to free up some money so Duhan can come down south.
To be fair, and it's never obviously not happened yet. I have said this for ages, but I said that when Magnus left to go down to Bristol, I was like, cool, can we get Josh Bayliss? Like, he was young enough, he was playing at 8 at the time, he's very versatile, he can do it all. And then Edinburgh just went, no, you're getting Magnus back. I was like, I mean, it works. I'm not complaining.
One of my dreams are going to come true if Bayliss comes north, and like I don't swear often, but you know how much I like a big bastard back row.
Oh, right? Here we go. Here we go. So, Muncaster, Bayliss, and Maggie.
Oh yeah, talk about destruction.
There you go.
Utter destruction.
What a way to end episode 5. Next week, we'll be back again next week. We have got all the ins and outs of what happens when we take on South Africa this weekend. All the positives, all the negatives. If we're very cheery, you know that we've won. If it's a very somber episode, you know the result. And we'll be then leading into the following game with the Portugal game. We'll do predictions for that. And if there's any other news regarding Scotland, we'll sure be on it.
Yeah.
Until then, Dan, always an absolute joy talking to you, mate.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. Well, actually, I'll see you at the game.
Yeah, you'll see. Yes, we're going to the game.
So, look, we'll leave it there. Look, we're coming up to the hour mark. So we'll leave it there for this week. I hope you guys like listening. We'll be back again Monday next week.
Yeah, sorry. See you later.